Welcome to Beyond Revenue, Narratives of Revenue Leaders. Today, I speak with Emelie Linheden, Vice President Marketing of Younium, about the topic from growth to majority, scaling SaaS marketing in the subscription economy. Emelie is an award-winning SaaS marketing leader with over 15 years of experience, driving growth across sales, marketing, and customer success in B2B organizations. Emelie and myself, we had a super interesting conversation today. Have a look and let me know what you think. Welcome to Beyond Revenue, Narratives of Revenue Leaders. Emelie, I'm very happy to have you today in the show. We want to talk about from growth to maturity, scaling SaaS marketing in subscription economy. You have a vast background in marketing, over 15 years as a marketing professional. I think you're quite a while already with Younium. You made the company scale from a local player to an international player. I'm really looking forward to our discussion, but I guess you can introduce yourself and Younium a little bit better than I can. So over to you. Who are you? What are you doing?
Thank you, and happy to be here. My name is Emelie, and I'm the Vice President of Marketing at Younium. I was actually the first marketing employee in the team, so I have been with Younium for 5.5 years now, and it has been a growth journey. And as you said, yes, my background is in marketing and sales, B2B, more than 15 years, and the past 10 years in software and SaaS. And Younium, we are a SaaS company only targeting other SaaS companies or recurring revenue businesses. And our product is handling advanced customer subscriptions. So everything from billing, revenue recognition, reporting, SaaS metrics, insights, etc.
Interesting. And you operate globally already, right?
Yes, we do. As our ICP is quite small, if looking local in Sweden, we understood from the very beginning that we need to go outside of Sweden and the Nordic market more or less directly. So we are operating both in Benelux, Germany, UK, and the US.
Interesting. So what's the biggest misconception people still have in SaaS marketing, in your opinion?
I think it's that people think that it's mostly about lead generation. But of course, SaaS marketing is so much more. It's about creating a category, educating the audience, driving expansion, retention, advocacy, etc. Of course, in the beginning, it's a lot about acquisition, but then it's a lot more.
Absolutely. As you have now done the major part of the scaling with Younium, what in one word does scaling mean for you?
I think it's about clarity in everything, in priorities, processes, messaging. Everything is about clarity in what you're doing.
When looking back a little bit to the beginning of Younium, what is the one thing you wish every early stage founder understood about marketing when starting a business?
I think it's about that marketing isn't anything you can add on later. If you want to grow, you need to have marketing early. If you add it on later, you have missed time.
Fair enough. Yeah, I think that's it's a big mistake we see quite often. So let's talk a little bit, or let's get started with the topic of scaling. So how did you approach building a marketing foundation that could scale from one single market into a multi-region approach without losing focus or consistency?
In the beginning, it was a lot about finding the core narrative, of course, but then also to be able to put that into a global concept or like across all regions, but still communicate the same value. Of course, it's also a lot about ICP understanding. In Younium, it doesn't matter where you're working or in which team. We always educate our people about why we are targeting this ICP and why we should decline others. And also from a marketing perspective, it has been a lot about global versus global execution versus local execution.
Understand. And it's right. So to put it in word, you have a global approach, but with a local adaptation to their
Yeah.
needs. Because I guess, especially when you go to the German market and then compared to UK, quite different needs.
Yeah, I think it's about finding that balance, what will work globally and with the same messaging, etc., and what needs to be more adapted to the local market. Like we need to be in certain channels, such as local communities, etc. But we could run a webinar globally. That's not the problem.
Fair enough. And what role did data play, or let's say data process structure play in transforming this marketing from, let's say, a support function or a later added function into a key growth partner, right? So really driving sales and revenue in this quite complex environment.
Yeah, I think in my case, it has never been about the support function because when our founder and CEO hired me, he was very clear about that marketing is driving growth from day one. But also, I think it doesn't matter if it's about data or processes. I think it's about the clarity and the ownership.
Fair enough. And how do you collaborate best? So how does it work practical? So you align together with the founders and the rest of the go-to-market team on one message, or how does it work best here?
You mean how we would collaborate across the teams, or?
Yeah. How you get it that you have one message across all the teams and that it really supports the growth and it's not just let's say a support function, because right, that's what everybody's striving for, right? Is that marketing is so fully integrated into the growth engine, and and marketing, sales, or even customer success, they have not
Yeah.
only one message, but they collaborate quite closely.
Yeah, I think from Younium perspective, we are organized in hubs, meaning that we have a hub responsible from marketing and also from a sales perspective, where we have regular check-ins. We also have marketing meetings, and we also have maybe not content meetings, but still content input from sales. We work quarterly marketing activity plans, and for each quarter, sales are always involved in putting, let's say, dress the marketing plan from a sales perspective.
Understand. And how do you get it done, especially in such a fast moving environment, that you, let's say, that you always on the one side take the right decisions, but on the other side structure the right support on the, let's say, complex sales cycle, or right, because the deal size are depending a little bit, but the topic you play with, it's in a quite complex environment, right? How do you get
It
it?
is. And our ARPA is approximately MRR 3,500 euros. So, of course, it's not about that someone is buying it online or just buying it after one touch point. So, yeah, it is complex.
Fair. And what are the most effective ways, in your opinion, that marketing can drive not only right top of funnel, but really drive expansion and retention when it's not a self-service approach, but a rather complex approach, or a complex process around it?
I think like when you are a small company in startup phase, it's always about acquisition first. But now when we have grown bigger, it is more of the alignment between marketing and CS. And also it's driven by, of course, education, relationship building. And I think that how we work is a lot with like partnerships with our customers, in that sense that when they believe that this is something they really need to scale faster and smarter, then this magic happen. Of course, as you said, we are not PLG, but still we are working more and more towards hybrid growth, meaning that even though I don't think that people will buy it just with the click, it will be more about self-serve also in the future for us.
Okay, understand. And Would it be possible to set it up in a way that you don't need help of a partner or your team to set it up?
At the moment, no. But let's see what the future will bring. I think it's when we look at it from a PLG perspective, now it's more about taking the prospect further in the journey without sales hand. But of course, if that will be faster and more efficient, etc., and then when the customer is on board, it needs to be so easy so they can self-serve themselves. So it's a bit of the balance,
Fair
but
enough.
still, as we have bigger deals, it also requires support. When people pay that much, they should have some support. So then, yeah, maybe we will see in the future, but at the moment, it's more about taking them further.
Fair enough. Yeah. Now, because right, we see that topic, right? We cover that topic quite often with our clients as well. And then the implementation part is one part, but the structuring, how to do it right, is the other part, right? And it's not only about generating then the interest from your side, but educating, doing the right decisions or taking the right decisions, while using such a tool to help to scale. Because what we quite often see is that, let's say, the operators or the company, they need help on defining what's best, especially when decisions on the order to cash and this part is,
Yeah.
they have so many consequences on the other side.
And also, of course, depending on what kind of system, but Younium is a core system, often connecting to the CRM, the finance system, and other system. So it's really about also a lot of people involved. It's not about just buying a tool for the marketing
Yeah.
department, for the HR department. It's a lot more.
Yeah, absolutely, and that drives the complexity, right? And has so many
Yeah.
dependencies. On the one side, operational, how to use it. On the other side, the customer finance. I guess that's quite complicated. And how do you support this education on how to use the tool during the sales process already, or is that is to drive interest?
Yeah.
Is that something which helps?
Yeah, we have product tours, which has been actually very successful. We just renewed them. I think we have around 10 different product tours. So that is also a project that has been done, sales and marketing together.
Okay, interesting. Let's talk a little bit about local versus global, remote versus hybrid. What is the from your leadership style? What has been the most challenging for you to really lead such an effective team?
Yeah, as I started just when Corona came, it was at home from day one, basically. So then when I started to hire people, it was quite naturally that I don't needed to hire them in the same city that I am. So I
Yeah.
think Corona drove that thing. But also now I have people both that can go to one of our offices, but also people that are fully remote and with different cultural backgrounds, different business backgrounds, languages, etc. And of course, it's another thing. It requires a kind of international leadership style, but also consistent clarity. Because what I think is something that is normal for everyone is maybe not normal in another country. So I learn a lot, and I think
Yeah.
also that the team learn a lot. But I think, like, my opinion is that it's about the mindset and the competencies. I don't hire for a city or a country, more
Yeah,
for
fair enough.
field. Yeah.
Yeah, I think what we see. So we always have been. So we have an office, but we always have been a remote company. I think since 2018, 2019 already. And what we see is one thing is that if they don't see each other on day to day, right? Sometimes the work is quite challenging, and then they have nobody to talk to, right? To get off the steam, and then it helps to bring them together a week or here there, and then they can really discuss
Yeah.
things, discuss problems, and then it helps each other. And I'm always in between in the decision. What do we do, right? Do we keep the setup and leave the freedom, or everybody's adult is an
Yeah.
adult, right? On the other
Yeah,
side,
I think like what we always see each other in some way, like 3-4 times a year. But
okay.
what I always do, this will be the third time actually in April. We are having an offsite in Spain, So we rent the house, and then we live and cook together. We have workshops, and then I bring the full team. And that's really we normally it's 3 days. These 3 days really make people get to know each other in another way. And I think that maybe compensate a bit for not seeing each other next to the coffee machine at the office. I hope that. But I like that, and it works for us.
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, we're trying to get that as well done to get the people together because we have people all over Europe. But the only thing I always I see when they're together, they seem happier, right? More satisfied. And it's like, how can I foster this to do that more? So you've built a multicultural cross marketing team. I think what is it, eight to 10 people?
We are 8.
8 people. So, what have you learned about leading across different time zones, or leading in Europe and I guess in the US? Quite different approach. What are your learnings about culture, about leading them? How did you build lean structure that it works, but you're still effective?
I think that the foundation is about like space for experimentation, that the team or each team member feel that, I can try this and it's not the problem if I failure. Then transparent communication, of course, but also have this regular cross-functional and team check-ins, celebrating progress, and the feeling of that I am owning this, and the balance between strategic work and consistency in what actually work in execution. I think it's a lot about repeating also what is the mission for the company and how is that connected to the marketing team and for each individual. Repetition is even more important when you are across different countries and remote.
Yeah, I can imagine, because on the one side, right, you want to have the global message, one message across all teams. On the other side, you want to have the individualism, authenticity in each region, and it's most probably quite challenging. How do you keep quality control? If I don't know if you say it like this, but right, that what they do in locally really fits to the one message you wanna convey.
That's of course a hard thing, because let's say that you operate towards Germany locally, then you have some kind of German market knowledge, etc. And that is of course hard for me, as I'm not an expert in the local German market yet, at least. But I think it's about that quite many things works the same way. And what is locally, we do research, we check with sales, we check with, of course, the SaaS community, how does it work? And then we try. But don't try 50 new things in a new market. Then take what worked in another market first and then add on a few things.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, and I think not doing too many things at one time, right? And master one.
Yeah.
And as I have seen you in the German market on the last event in October, I think Younium stood out, right? Everybody saw you, and you made it quite authentic.
The community is important for us, both as the team grows, but also as we are working to as such a niche target group. So then, of course, if we are in Germany, we should be where the SaaS community is.
Yeah, fair. Everybody remember the pink hat. That's good.
Best merch ever, but the best one.
Yeah, but look, in the end, this is what we're trying always when we build the go-to-market strategy. Is like, look, don't do what the other's doing, right? In the end, if everybody writes short emails, write long emails, right? It's already if you're different, you stand out. If you stand out, they remember.
And be brave. Be brave and test new
absolutely. That's why I really liked it when I saw you at the dinner. I was like, nice. That's good. That's cool. Let's talk a little bit about the future. Where are you guys gonna head? What can we expect in the next 2 to 3 years from Younium?
First, now it's about hitting that ARR 10 million euros, which will be achieved very, very soon.
Nice.
And then it's about both growing in Germany, UK, and US. Still, we have more customers in the Nordics. We started out here. We have an office in Amsterdam. So then the second biggest market is Benelux. But we see great potential in other countries as well. And then it's about focusing on more AI into the product, of course, as everyone else. And then also building more of hybrid growth acquisition model, so we can actually focus on the prospect that are more complex, and then the other ones could take themselves further in the journey. So then we free up time from sales. So that's some of the things. And then in local countries, like more local, where we don't have an office, like Germany, UK, it will be a lot about the partner and ecosystem, like who could we talk to, who can we cooperate with to get more traction there. I think that's the key.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, especially I would say coming from Nordics, it's most probably much easier going to Benelux and UK, going to the German markets, right? Especially in the SaaS community, is most probably fine because everybody speaks very well English and all. If you go further.
Actually, what we have seen is that it has been easier to get traction early in Germany than in UK.
Oh, really?
But
Cool.
I also it is because the SaaS communities is so mature in English. It's another thing if you target construction companies or banks. So
yeah. Now, fair enough. The tech world in Germany it's very English. Yeah, most cultures are completely English speaking, and not. If you go further into the German Mittelstand, it's very hard not to localize. Yeah, because they don't want to speak English in the meetings. So let's talk a little bit about your advice or your learnings to other marketing leaders. So what advice would you give to a marketing leader entering the next phase of SaaS growth, right? So growing beyond 10 million of revenue, what is the advice you give them? What should they focus on?
I think the core is about respect your ICP and know your ICP. That will always be the right focus. And then, of course, surround yourself with both people internally that you trust, but also the wider community within your ICP. Then you will get the best advice. And then your gut feeling.
Fair. Yeah, gut feeling. That's good advice. Don't forget it. Yeah. And finally, what's one principle or mindset that guided you most throughout your journey in the SaaS economy?
I think that's also about ICP. That has always been the core principle, but also that part about SaaS is not about one-time sale or the first sale. Is about consistent relationship building throughout the customer life cycle. And that's really something that stand out when you are thinking from maybe an older perspective of selling, that now we are talking about value and lifetime value more than just sales at the moment.
Perfect closing word. Emelie, thank you very much for your time, sharing your knowledge and your story. We are really looking forward to hear more about Younium in the German market. If you're in Berlin, let us know. Yeah, we always there. We do a lot of SaaS events as well. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.